What's happening, guys? How are we doing? I have got an interesting video today, and it's more of a, these videos are becoming a bit of a dear diary, but it's good to document, right? It's good to document. I've got a few big decisions I need to make, right? And I'm not entirely sure what the best thing to do is. I mean, if you've seen the title of this video, you probably kind of know what I'm talking about. But I've not been sleeping well recently, and last night was no exception. I have not had a coffee yet today. You know the drill. Got to get coffee first, and then let's talk about it. Okay, I've just dropped in the office for a minute. Guys, I just helped an old lady across the street. I went for my coffee, went and sat down by the river, had my coffee, and then I thought I'm going to drop in the office because I had to grab a couple of bits. This is the office, and there was an old lady by the church, and she looked a little bit like she wanted to cross the road, and I was going to cross, and no one's helping her, and the road's quite busy, and I thought, I didn't want to insult, I didn't want to insult her though. And I said to her, do you want a hand? And she was like, oh, that would be lovely. And she linked my arm, and and I stopped the traffic, and we walked across the road. And I said to her, I've never helped anyone across the road before. And she said, no one's ever helped me across the road before. She was like, that's so nice of you. And I said, oh, have a good day. And you know what? It made me feel quite happy. I've been walking around this morning feeling a bit sorry for myself and actually doing a good deed. It's funny, isn't it? Whenever you're feeling a certain way about yourself, oftentimes the best thing to do is do something for someone else. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's something as small as that. So I've been renting my apartment for the last 5 years. When I first moved in there, I said I would be there for 2 or 3 years, I think, was what I told myself. And I've been there for 5 years. It was too good to pass up, for the amount I was paying, the location I had. And I've got multiple parking spaces, secure parking for my bikes, even though I've got the lockup and I store stuff there as well. I've got outside space where I've got my cold plunge and my sauna set up and all this kind of stuff. And it's just it's very convenient, right? It's and I've kind of built my lifestyle around where I'm at. But my landlord has always been a dick. Whenever I've tried negotiating with him or trying to get something done, he's just always been a problem, right? When I first moved into the apartment, it was a shithole. And I had to have it professionally cleaned myself because it hadn't been done. And he was just, straight away, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a problem. Do you know what I mean? When people they don't take their responsibility seriously. But, whatever, just pay the rent and keep the place in good nick and it'll be all right. And he caused me no real problems, so I tried to do the same. He's got a number of other properties in the building. He doesn't live there, but he's got a number of other properties, and a few people have warned me about him. Got issued with my Section 21 the other day. I think it's Section 21, which is like a no reason eviction. And apparently, from the managing agent, she was like, I think there might be something going on there where he's got to free up some capital. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's inconvenient. And we were negotiating about the rent, and then the negotiations kind of stopped. Then he said he's going to sell it, but there's already 4 apartments in the building up for sale, and the market's really soft at the moment. Then the valuers came round to value the place because I was like, I might buy it, right? And then the valuers came to value the place, and I was chatting with them, and I said something because he's going to sell. And they said, oh, is he selling, is he? And I was like, well, if you're here to value the place to sell it, then how come you don't know? So anyway, I think he's playing silly buggers. I think he just wants me out so that he can jack up the rent and get someone else in, because that's the sort of guy he is, right? These fucking boomers, tight-fisted boomers, and they just squeeze every fucking penny. And being a good tenant having a long track record of like good tenancy does not help you in any way. They just want the money. Do you know what I mean? They don't care about anything else. But it's kind of thrown things into a bit of a spin for me, because I've been saying I'm going to leave for ages. And this is kind of, I guess this is kind of forcing my hand a little bit. So I'm kind of like, well, what do I do now? Like, there's no way I'm entering the rental market in the UK. Like, you know, trying to find a place which fits all of my needs for my budget in the area I'm in, it's a waste of time. All I'm going to end up doing is compromising on multiple things. And to be perfectly honest, with how hard we work, the amount of tax we pay, it's just not worth it. Do you know what I mean? It is just not worth it. Buying a place is kind of, I'm not planning on staying in the UK long term. So is there any point in that? I don't know. And the truth is, I don't really want to buy a place. So I'm kind of find myself in this weird catch-22 where I'm kind of like, well, what do you do then? You know, I've got my business here. I've always said I was going to leave, but the plan was to leave and then go somewhere else where I can set up a business. The plan was always Dubai. Obviously, what's going on there, I'm not really clear on what's going on there. It's difficult to get information, proper information. What would you do in my situation? Do you know what I mean? I don't really have any ties here, you know. My girlfriend will come with me. I've got my business here, but I can work remotely. You know, my team here is so good that I could work remotely. However, if I was somewhere else, it would make sense for me to be setting up another office there and building another business in another country, as well as running the one in the UK. Yeah, so it looks like I've got some big decisions to make, right? The biggest decision I can face today is deciding that I do need another coffee before I carry on. I apologise if this YouTube channel has just turned into basically a running dialogue of what's happening in my life. But it is extremely difficult to schedule things like proper like shoots and podcasts and stuff like that when you've got like shit like this going on, and I'm running the business and I'm prepping for a competition next weekend. So it's just been a bit full on. Essentially, my plan is to spend the summer here in the UK, and then what? I don't know. You know, looking at maybe putting everything in storage and going traveling. Thailand, Australia, America, to the States. If I could wave a magic wand right now, where would I go? It would probably be somewhere like the US, somewhere that's very pro business, and somewhere where I'm not going to get taxed half to death. You know, that is a problem here. I've got a personal thing against tax. I think the whole thing's a scam. When you go to countries that are zero tax and they're the best run countries you've ever been to, it's kind of like, and then you come to like the heaviestly taxed countries in the world, like the UK, and they just take all your money and give it to fucking losers, basically. And I just have a huge problem with that. No offense to you if you're on welfare. There are genuine people that need it, right? Yeah. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that the way we're running this country is not sustainable. So yeah, so my question is to any of you guys, have any of you lived in another country? Where was it? And what was it like? You know, I'm up for a bit more of a different lifestyle, right? Over here in the UK, my life is very much about, my cars and bikes and watches and I find that I do that stuff to entertain myself because there's not much else going on. Whereas living maybe a simpler lifestyle, I think might be good for me, even if it's for just a period of time, even if it's for 3-6 months, maybe a year. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like I do want to go somewhere where there's like a strong coffee culture. Like it's just the thing that I love the most, or one of the things that I love the most, and it's so easily accessible. But that's why Melbourne appeals. Like there's a really strong coffee culture there. That seems to be coming up in Thailand as well. But also, you know, how do you want your day-to-day life to be? You know, you like essentially, I want to be able to work remotely. I want to be able to train, get good coffee and food. I would like somewhere where the weather is good so that I can spend time outdoors. You know, when I lived in Dubai briefly, one of the things I noticed is that I didn't spend much money at all because we would go to the beach in the afternoons and we would just sit there. You know, we would just, and that was good enough. You know, have like a nice brunch, sit on the beach, read a book. You know, that was a great afternoon or a great weekend to me. You know, that's what I'm thinking. There's obviously other countries that I'd quite like to see. People keep talking about like Albania, looks amazing. But Europe, to be honest, there are parts in Europe I love. I love Italy and I love the Côte d'Azur, France. But these places are very expensive and they're more sort of holiday destinations. Whereas like when you think about in terms of living somewhere, that's a different thing, right? Thailand does interest me. I don't like, you know, there are parts of Thailand which look amazing. There's a strong coffee and jiu-jitsu culture there. I think that would be great. And then there's also like, you know, if I was just thinking really big for a minute, what would I do? Would I move to Texas and set up a business there? Although I do like the idea of having proper seasons. You know, somewhere where you get a proper winter and a proper summer. I think this is a healthier way to live. Somewhere where the politics isn't fucked. I mean, America is like the politics are fucked in America, but they are in Europe as well. They are everywhere. I don't know. What would you guys do in my position? Would you stay here and, you know, pay more tax and, you know, knuckle on down? I mean, you got to remember, I'm 42 years old and I've been hammering it here for years. And it's very hard to get ahead here. There's this thing I've seen people do where they maintain a positive mental attitude. But you do have to be realistic, right? I do think there is such a thing as like toxic positivity where you can trick yourself into thinking that everything's all right when it's actually not. Like, you got to be real, man. Do you know what I mean? You have to be real. Nowhere's perfect. For our generation, buying a house is so difficult. And when you're spoiled like me and you've been living in a beautiful town like I live in a nice apartment, you know, the idea of like what it would cost to actually buy a family home and have a family here and all that, I mean, it's fucking, it's unbelievable. Yeah, you let me know in the comments what you would do. Guys, next week, the video might be delayed because I'm going to be competing on the Saturday. I was planning on taking the camera and making a video of it, but it can take me quite a while to edit these videos sometimes. So don't get mad if I don't upload a video bang on time on Sunday next week. Let me know in the comments what you would do if you were in my position, and I will see you all next week. Have a great week, guys.